welcome back everyone. So now we are at Sanderson Headers. We are here to drop off the headers to get ceramic coated. This is the second set of headers. We had to have another set of headers remade because the first set were made when the car had shock towers. Now that it's running the Detroit Speed Alumaframe, another set of headers had to be made. So here we are, we're at Sanderson Headers. We're dropping the headers off to get coated. And here we are 7 days later. We're back at Sanderson Headers. So here we go. Let's check out the headers. Oh. Hey, what's up?
Hey, which one are you?
Yeah. Is it okay to vlog or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Sanderson Headers, guys. For those of you guys who've been following headers for a long time, these guys are one of the few people in the business that do this. So. But bam, here they are. All nice and coated and protected. So, alrighty, so here they are. These headers had to be, I had to get another custom set of headers for the Falcon because the first set would not fit, so let's open them up. So after doing the Detroit Speed Alumaframe front suspension clip, the Sanderson headers that were originally done for the 430 Windsor would not clear the engine mounts for the Detroit Speed suspension system. So consequently, Dow Brothers had to make another set of headers. And then again, we got these headers coated by Sanderson. So now I'm just gonna unwrap them. We'll take a closer look. Alrighty, here they are. One thing about these headers is when Dow Brothers, when he made these, he made them at the convenience of a two-piece header. So basically, you can see here, two primaries are separate. So what that does is help make it easier to remove and install in the car. So what you have here, like I said, is basically two sets of primaries that make one. And then going into the merge collector, the merge collector is also two-piece as well. You can see the actual bolt piece here. So all the primaries go into that collector. And then from previous videos, you look under the car, you can see that the exhaust collector to the going to the mid pipe is V-band clamp. So one thing about the V-band clamp is you have ease of removal and install, but also V-band clamps, in my opinion, secure pretty well. So less likely to leak and is a more race type seal. I have three different sets of headers to compare. Two of these headers were for the same engine combination, but I had to have another set made. So one fits a Ford with shock towers. So like your Mustang, your Falcon, your Cougar, your 60s Ford with a shock tower. These headers will fit with a 351 Windsor and a Trick Flow Twisted Wedge R, Trick Flow High Port, or a Brodix Headhunter head. All those heads have 2.75 inch bolt spacing, and they have a horizontal and a diagonal bolt spacing. So let's show you the headers. So I'll start off. These are the headers that were on the 408 Windsor for the better part. For about 10 years, that combination ran with these headers. These were pretty much a Headman do-it-yourself kit. These headers were done by Dave Murray at R&E Racing, or Murray's Performance Garage, down in Lancaster, California. He is a Ford guy. Many of you guys may know him. He built a lot of the cars that were in Street Outlaws for the AV boys back in the early 2000s. He also built the old 408 and the Falcon in the previous configuration. So these were done by him. They held up fine. Didn't have any leaks or issues with these. These were mated to a Edelbrock Victor Jr. head in a Windsor in a shock tower Ford, which is Falcon, Cougar, Mustang, Comet, and so forth. Also, you can throw a Ranchero in there. an 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8. The bolt spacing, don't quote me, but I want to say 2-inch bolt spacing, or more standard style bolt pattern is what these headers bolted to, or the type of head that these headers would have bolted to. And these are also these are ceramic coated in black, and you can see the coating held up pretty good. To take notice on is set these down. Headers that are coated, there's two main colors that you'll see on a header coating. Two main colors you'll see are ceramic, like a black finish, a matte black finish, and like a chrome or a polish finish. Now, Sanderson headers told me that a lot of guys go for the black finish because the black finish, you know, it looks cool, and a lot of your hot rods and cars with exposed exhaust or exposed headers, they like to run this because it kind of goes in line with the matte black look. The drawback or downside to these headers is if they get any fluids on them, such as oil, water, you know, from just splashing on the road, if they're exposed headers or anything like that, it will break down the coating. The coating on the black ceramic coating apparently is not as resilient as the chrome finish. So if you were to get fluids, oils, or water on these, it's not going to break down the ceramic coating the way it would on these. So just a quick tech tip, that's what Sanderson headers relayed to me. So that was a reason. And I believe, I don't recall, but I don't know if the chrome finish actually is more heat resistant, meaning it reduces heat temperatures. So not 100% on that, but that's what was relayed to me. Definitely these are more resilient in terms of lasting and not breaking down when introduced to fluids. So just keep that in mind. All right, so the second set of headers that were made were when we got the 430 Windsor swapped into the Falcon, and we still had the shock towers. We had went with the Chris Austin coilover conversion kit, and so we took the headers to Sanderson headers, and this is what they made. These are horizontal bolt pattern. These are 2-inch full-length headers, and the bolt spacing on these are 2 3/4 inch. So take a look at these. Let's see if I can get this camera right. So that's what these headers are. These are, you know, a true full-length header. The collector style on this, I do like it. I don't know if that's called a socket type. I like it, but I prefer a V-band clamp, and I'll explain to you why here in a bit. These are for the Trick Flow Twisted Wedge R heads that these were on, and that motor, the 430 Windsor, ended up making 716 horsepower on the dyno and 592 pounds of torque. It's a 13-to-1 motor, and it made that through a wet sump, which we eventually swapped out to a dry sump, so we suspect there's more power there. The dyno headers were also an 1 7/8. So being that these are 2-inch headers, these might actually support a little bit more power, and this is to a 3.5-inch merge collector. Or the second set of headers made for the car, but the first set made for the new motor. And as you can kind of look at the design and bends on them compared to the Sanderson headers, you'll see a lot more stuff going on, a lot more movement, and that was only because at the time they were working again around the shock towers and a rack and pinion, a traditional rack and pinion steering. So, but I mean, if you ask me, that's still a pretty good job. And I mean, look at those bends coming out of there. You wouldn't know that you had to clear shock towers, but I mean, they made them really good. One thing I will say between the Sanderson headers and the Dow Brothers headers, the Sanderson headers are noticeably heavier. And none of these are stainless steel. In a perfect world, I would have liked to have gone stainless steel because, you know, obviously that offers the lightest weight, the best sound, and best heat resilience as well. But no, these are I think mild or tube steel headers. But these headers are noticeably heavier than the. I wish I had a scale here, because then I would weigh the two. But all in all, I'm sure these would have been a good fit on the car, but I'm so glad that we addressed the Ford shock tower issue on the car. Moving on to what the current headers that we're running, we just got these back from Sanderson a couple days ago, and these were built actually by the same guy who did the all the fabrication work for the front end, Dow Brothers race car. You can go back and check out my videos, and you'll see a couple updates on the Falcon and throughout the process when they were doing that. But these came out flawless. Now the difference between a header like this is these headers were made by a fabricator and a chassis guy, whereas these headers were made by a company, a small company that does headers only. And you can kind of see some similarities, but then you can see some differences. One being the primaries on these, there's less bends in them because there wasn't as much stuff in the way. Once we went that Detroit Speed stuff, it really kind of made room for them to just make a straight tubing on the primaries. So that's another thing. Then also you can see the pick these up. You can see the V-band style flange here, and that just makes for a really good seal. And then as well, these have the I forget what that's called, but you guys know what I mean down there. So anyways, that's what's going on with the current headers. Let me look and see if these old set have, and these do have some kind of I wish I had the name for that, but anyways, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the channel, continued support. I know the Falcon has been ongoing for about 1.5 years now since we tore the old 408 out. We're coming up on closer to 2 years since the car's been down. Had to make significant changes. Even if you're doing an engine swap, like from a 302 to a 351, there's some significant hurdles. And we didn't really switch engine family, but what we did was we went with a head that had a dimensionally larger head, which created a whole bunch of, it's a chain reaction. And making the kind of power we're planning on making, it was just best to make the car safe. So make sure you guys are smashing that thumbs up button, make sure you're sharing, and please subscribe. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
Yeah, I probably should have had my phone because you're a long distance away, but it might show better.
Can you see the